Good morning to all the healthcare professionals. Today also happens to be the World Health Day. So it's just a calculated coincidence or a strange happening. A few days back, I had a very interesting WhatsApp forward which came to my inbox. I thought I will share that and then start the proceedings. There was a couple who had happily been married. Happily been married is not an oxymoron always. They were married for almost 70 years and they were celebrating the 70th anniversary. So the local press had been called and they wanted to check out what is the secret behind the longevity of this wedding and how come they are so healthy even after 70 years of being together. So the husband was first interviewed. Said it's actually quite simple. When we got married on the day of the wedding, we came to an arrangement. Whenever there is an argument, the person who starts the argument has to walk 10 miles a day. And I haven't stopped walking since. That's why I'm quite healthy. Many years back in the middle of 90s, I was once called to speak to a very large audience of Rotarians in Chennai. It consisted of all kind of professionals, legal professionals, doctors, you name them. It would be quite difficult in those days to go and speak to such an august audience. So I was speaking to my third guru, Chariji Maharaj, who is no more with us now. And he just gave me a very valid input. He said, Prakash, at the end of the day, these people are just humans with lot of feelings and emotions and blood and flesh in the body. What they do for their earning is just a profession. So please bear in mind you are speaking to humans and you are not speaking to a set of professionals, so you don't have to bother about what you need to share. That sort of gave me a lot of clarity. Our second guru, Babuji Maharaj, he has done extensive research in spirituality, and some of the research that he has done is path-breaking to such an extent that many people even today are finding out what exactly it really stands for. In the middle of 1950s, he was once with a lot of doctors and all that, and then apparently made a remark which sets the base for this session, for me at least. He said, even those days there were a lot of heart attacks and people are dying, but those days it was termed as mysterious diseases. You didn't know why they were dying. He had made a sort of a hypothesis which said that all causes of health issues are because of confusion in the mind. Apparently quite simple, and I don't think he was understood then. I don't think it can be understood even today. But if you really look at it, a confused mind is the beginning of all the health issues. And if you really look back, he offered a very beautiful solution which forms the basis of what I am going to link to my topic today. He said when you have clarity in whatever you do, you are going to be a healthier person. If you really go back and link it back to some of the old scriptures that we have, specifically the Ashtanga Yoga, which in my view today has so much of wealth which is still yet to be explored, leave alone by medical professionals, even by humans. If you really look at it, Ashtanga Yoga is all about 4 dimensions of what health can be considered to be. If you really look at it, I mentioned that it's all about having clarity. If you really look at Ashtanga Yoga, they speak about 8 steps, whereas I would bring them to 4 boxes and then share what they really stand for and how we can benefit as humans and how you as medical professionals can take this message to the larger mass. The first 2, if you really look at it, speaks about Yama and Niyama. This is about a much larger context. If you really look at the old Vedic scriptures or the mythology or Ramayana, Mahabharata, they all speak about the concept of dharma. If you really look at a very simple definition, once Chariji Maharaj, the third guru, said, dharma is what actually upholds the universe. It's a set of values by which the universe has to live, so that dharma in this universe can be something that can be, helping us to hold the universe together. What would happen if the universe falls apart? Holding the universe together is what dharma is about. And if we really look at it, what is my contribution to dharma? if you go deeper into that subject, you look at the concept of Swadharma. Swadharma is nothing but my personal values, which would align in turn to the dharma of the universe. So that what happens is I am not in misalignment, which causes confusion both in me and to the people who are around me. Yama and Niyama as a box, as two values, gives us clarity on how to live. Clarity of very clearly in terms of how to live. If you look at the box of Yama, it has fundamentally 5 principles on the things that you should preferably avoid doing. The don'ts of what you can call as living. And if you look at the 10 commandments of Jesus Christ or any of the old sayings, so do not covet thy neighbor's asset and things like that, don't look elsewhere. Yama can also, if you really look at the definition of what Yama does, he brings death, right? And death is also in a way of burning things. So actually Patanjali, who codified the concept of this Ashtanga Yoga, he speaks about 5 basic values, which I am not going to get deeper into right now. He speaks about 5 things that you should preferably avoid in your life, so that when you don't do them, your conscience is clear. When my conscience is clear, see, each one of us have our own inner guide called the conscience. He tells us, keeps telling us all the time what you are not supposed to be doing, what you are supposed to be doing. When that happens, when there is a clarity of living, our Guru Babuji Maharaj says that much of your health issues automatically get resolved, because you are not at conflict either with the external world or you are not in conflict with your inside world, which is what you are. And Charji Maharaj, our third Guru, once jokingly said the inside universe is, n number of times bigger than the external universe, because the I, me, myself syndrome, and I think I am the biggest man in the world, and I know that you are bigger than me, but I know that I'm better than you, kind of a thought. So we really look at that, if you're able to give up a few things, and he codifies those 5 elements of what to avoid, and then he gives the next set of values in terms of what you called as niyama, niyamangal in Tamil, if you really take. What are the things that you are supposed to live by? What are the values? How many of us, if you really look at some of the foreign literature, they speak about personal mission statements, specifically those who are familiar with corporate life. What do you mean by a personal mission statement? What is it that defines what I am? If I have to tell the world what I stand by, what I would give my life for, what I would give anything for that example. For many of you, it could be your family. For the sake of family, you might want to do anything. Like that, what are the values that you hold by? What are the values you would not stand by? What are the values that you would stand by? If you have this clarity of living, what Patanjali Muni says is that you have very clear clarity of what you are born for, and what is it that will not sway you or take you away from for what you are born in this earth. When those 2 boxes are clear, my life in this world, from the time I am born till I kick the bucket, I am very clear, my conscience is clear. Many of you health professionals would be knowing that one of the biggest challenges today is that people are unable to sleep. Last 2 weeks, I have been getting somehow strangely a lot of forwards on lack of sleep, sleep apnea and things like that. And predominantly one of the root causes they find is that people are going to the bed with a not so clear conscience, and that is pricking them. Whether it is the kind of business that they do or the kind of misgivings they have with the neighbor or with their family, whatever it may be. So these values put together, if you are able to start putting into your day-to-day life, and this is what heartfulness practice also propagates to the 10 maxims that we have. That maybe at a future point of time we'll go deeper into that. The second set of box that Patanjali Muni brings to the table is pertaining to the body with which you are born here. Whatever you treat the body for. Some people take it as a way of having a happy, enjoyable life. Some people take it as a vehicle given to me for me to look at a larger purpose. For example, if you ask a saint in Himalayas, he will say that I would like to maintain the body in such a way that I am able to meditate and achieve my goal. To that extent, this becomes like a boat which is given to me for me to transit between the point of birth to the point of death, so that I am able to use this body. Whatever be it. Like there is a famous saying in Tamil, Soravachada Sithiram. Unless you have a functional body, the biggest challenge today is not only the increased lifespan of Indians. I was recently reading a statistical data way back in the 50s and 60s, the average expectancy was in the mid 50s. Now it has apparently crossed in India more than 70. It is touching about 74, 75 is what the data says. But along with it, there is also a package of issues that is coming along. My body is living long, but am I living healthily? Am I having, I would say, a disease free or a sort of without major issues? My joints don't crank and sort of my mind is walking ahead, my body is yet to catch up, those kind of issues. And as you grow older, you have all the known and unknown issues that keep coming up. He has codified two boxes which come into one called as clarity of the body, clarity of the health, which he codifies calling it as pranayama and asana. If you really have a basic understanding of our health, which all of you should be being medical professionals, you will understand that it's all about your ability to manage the organs, your ability to manage the joints, and ability to manage the muscles which hold the joints together in very simple terms. If you are able to follow a set of practices which helps you to control the prana or the breath that you have, or through a set of yogic exercises or asanas, if you are able to ensure that the organs inside of you age gracefully, it's not that you don't need any other external prop-ups. I am not suggesting that. Whenever a medical intervention is required, based on what is it that your preferred choice, whether it's allopathy or any other alternate medicines, you go and ensure that you get the attention of a doctor or a medical professional. But on your own, prevention being better than cure, can we do something to ensure that we minimize the chances of having to go and meet a healthcare professional? I wouldn't want to deliberately go and meet a doctor every day. I mean, who would want to? If that should be the last recourse. It's something that I wouldn't want to do, but if it happens, I know for sure you professionals are there to help. But what is it that I can do? Whether it's walking, swimming, or any sort of exercises that I do. Like that, he has given, today if you really look at it, thanks to the International Yoga Day, the concept of yoga and pranayama has started traveling across the borders. Today it's available globally, and 21st of June symbolizes, which you're going to celebrate another couple of months from now. It is something that he has codified and made it available. So the first clarity is on clarity on how to live. The second box of clarity, which is pertaining to the asanas and the pranayama, is about the clarity of health or the clarity of the body. There comes the third box, which is what actually differentiates the humans from the rest of the species. If we really look at it, humans are the only ones who have the chance to evolve in multiple dimensions. If you take animals, if you take any other being, they only evolve in a specific dimension. They don't have control on how they evolve in certain other areas. Humans are the only ones who have the ability to consciously evolve in multiple dimensions. One of the biggest dimensions that we have, other than the body, which has certain evolutionary process, which is not, beyond a point, it is not in our control. For example, if your father is 5.5, your mother is 5.5, there are chances that you will not be growing beyond 5.7 or 5.8. How much ever you put in the 9 yards in the gym, you are not going to become 8 feet tall. Nor are you going to become an Arnold Schwarzenegger and win the Mr. Universe competition. There is a way in which the body would build and body would at some point of time stop growing. That's almost automatic, and it is built through the genes and the DNA pool that we have. But there are evolution of the mind which is unique only to the humans. If you really look at it, what differentiates any of the species and the humans is our ability to discriminate, ability to think, that sixth sense as we call it. Do we really use? Our Guru Daji keeps talking about the profound gift that humans have been given, but yet we rarely use for what it is given for. He really says that the concept of discrimination or the sixth sense or the power of the mind is used predominantly in a very limited sense. He says that normally we use the ability to discriminate to look at dualities of life. What is good, what is bad, what is wealth, what is not wealth, what is intelligence, what is not intelligence, what is health, what is not health, and we restrict in a very limited sense. Whereas he says the true discrimination or the ability to use the sixth sense or the power of the mind is when you are able to look at what is the effect and what should you be doing to cause that effect. Effect in this case can be that 3 years from now I should become a professor of medicine in this college, or 5 years from now I should have done this in my profession, or whatever line you are in. It's like an achievement. or something that you would like to avoid in your personal life. For example, I would like to ensure that my children do not have something that I had. It could be something like that. Effects are something that constantly happens to us all the time around. Effect is happening as we are talking, as I am talking to, as you are listening to me. There are several effects that are happening at a very microcosmic level which you are not even aware. The long term could be in terms of what am I going to do 1 week from now. Much longer term could be what am I going to do 1 year from now. So Daji says very clearly that your ability to use the power of discrimination of the power of the mind is when you are able to decide what the effect is. If you really look at what effect is, it could be quantified as what could be the goal of life or what could be the goal of your existence. When I decide what the goal of my existence is, statistically there is one data that I read many years ago which is very astounding to me. It says that 98% of the people go back to the graveyard without knowing or without having a reason, one single goal or reason as to why they are born in this world. In the sense, they just live a repetitive life where they get up in the morning, do something, and go back to the bed in the evening, and the process repeats till such time they go back into the graveyard, the 6x3 which none of us can avoid. Very few have the ability to set a goal with which they actually decide what the effect is. When the goal unfolds, that becomes the effect of your life. To achieve that goal or the effect, what is it that I am ready to do as a causal stuff? If I want to be healthy, I have to do something today. If I want to be healthy, which is an effect, I have to do something today, which is the cause. If I want to be rich and build a lot of wealth, I have to do some efforts in terms of building a business or a profession which will let me to actually unfold my skill set so that I become wealthy. If I have a spiritual goal of becoming, say, one with the God or attaining the understanding of who I am or attaining the self within, I need to put in certain yogic practices for me to reach there. If you really look at all this, humans are the only ones who are bestowed with one of the best gifts ever, yet very rarely used, very rarely properly used, let us put it this way. So when he codifies the third element, the third boxes which consist of two values, he speaks about pratyahara and dharana, which are very simply put, your ability to turn inward and look within yourself. If you really look at some of the books that you read today on self-help and all that, they all speak about the power of journaling. Look at the end of the day, look at what is it that you wanted to achieve for the day. Did you achieve it or not? Write a couple of lines and then see what change would you like to bring the next day so that the next day can be lived better than what you are living it today. The concept of journaling has been done long ago in the process of Ashtanga Yoga, where Patanjali Muni talks about your ability to withdraw the senses, because when the senses are outwardly drawn, what happens is there's a lot of distraction. You are not able to focus, you are not able to find out many of the reasons, and he says that much of the things that you need to find are within of yourself. All you have to do is cut the external senses to move inside of yourself, and then you can start either reminiscing or contemplating or looking at the kind of future that you would like to create, and then start living it from the next day onwards. So he gives you two tools there which would give you what is called as clarity of thought or clarity of mind. When you are able to use one of the best kept secrets of mankind, the power of the mind, rarely used, doctors technically would surely know, but how far do we put to our use? Is there a cause that we want to make, put into use? Is there an effect that you would like to see, either for me or for the world or for the society or for my patients or for whatever it may be? And then finally gives two set of boxes which all along has been something very rarely has been even taught to us. He speaks about the clarity of the soul. We feed the body, we feed the senses, we feed the eyes, we feed the ears, we feed the nose, we feel and then feed our senses. But do we ever allow what you technique call as the life force? If you don't believe in the concept of soul, take it as the concept of life force which is inside of you. Does the life force get fed at all? Is there a way to feed the life force? Does it even have anything to do with our living? Or is it just a plug and play device that it plugs in, I am born, it's plugged out, I am gone and I don't have to bother? He very clearly says that the way your body needs to be nourished, the way your soul needs to be nourished, the way your mind needs to be nourished, he says the soul or what is inside of you which is holding you together. If the world is the dharma, the soul inside of you is the swadharma which is actually holding you back. It is actually craving for attention. It's craving for some kind of a food to be given. And he says there are two ways in which it can be fed, which is called the clarity of the soul or the process of dhyana, and through which you attain what is known as the condition of the samadhi. Dhyana is nothing but a way of connecting your inner self to a larger self and continuously find a way to give it a sense of nourishment. We call it pranahuti in our heartfulness system of meditation. The way your thirsty mouth might need water, the way your stomach might need food, the soul needs a divine food, the divine manna, which we call as pranahuti, or the yogic force, or the force of the nature itself, which can be fed into you. All along, it has been in a cocoon, kept inside, so that we are not even aware that the soul inside can be fed, and there is a way for it to be fed. And the process has been sort of unfurled into us, and he has given this concept long ago, which we have brought into our practice, where we speak about the importance of dhyana. You have 24 hours in a day to take care of yourself. 6 to 7 hours you give for sleeping. You have another 8 to 9 hours for your profession. Another 5 to 6 hours for your other sides, personal side, social media, WhatsApp, YouTube, anything else. Can you set aside about half an hour to 40 minutes? And then you ensure that you feed the soul, and through that process ensure that you get to release the power of the soul so that there is a perfect health. The perfect health happens when you have a perfect balance between the purpose for which you are born, the clarity of living, the clarity of health which comes through a proper maintenance of body and your breath, the proper clarity in terms of how you are able to use your mind, and then the clarity of the soul through which you are able to meditate and integrate all these elements together. Heartfulness brings all these elements together, and we are going to explore it as we go along with a couple of more speakers. I take this opportunity again to thank all the healthcare professionals who are assembled here today and spending a valuable time to be with us. Please give about half an hour to 40 minutes every day to connect with yourself and see what magic it can unfold in balancing the total health. We'll meet again soon in a process of meditation. Thank you for the opportunity.